Hi, my name is Dave Persons and I'm pastor at the Wayside Presbyterian Church in Hamburg, New York. So, what would you say if somebody came up to you and asked, what is your purpose for living? What is your reason for being here? What is your passion for living? Or do you have some type of divine call? I think it's an important question that if we can answer it, perhaps with some type of assurance, our lives can have so much more peace and a sense of purpose and direction to them. In the early Christian scriptures, one of the most popular words used for call, the call of God, was kaleo, walk worthy of the vocation to which you have been called. Kaleo meant to be that which we yearn for, that our deepest interest, what we really want to be and to do. In our English word, it comes from a Norse word, kala, which means the call of the wild, or the call of that which is beyond. Interesting. And if we do have such a call, such a passion and purpose that we follow, is it static? Does it keep growing? I'm convinced that if we do answer a call, or a deep interest or yearning in our lives, that it's an evolutionary process. What may seem very real and final for us for this moment evolves and changes as time passes and new understandings come. The same way an athlete or an artist or an engineer or anybody works one's whole life developing and honing their skills, so it is with our understanding and following of that which is a call, perhaps a divine call in our lives. It never ends. When people say that they have found the truth and they know exactly what is right for them and perhaps for others, I'm always a little concerned about that. It's what Sigmund Freud said, a sudden flight into health, meaning that people would come to him for psychotherapy to help grow in their maturity. And then they would suddenly leave when they got a burst of insight, feeling that they didn't really need to do the work. Some have called that escaping into a religious bliss ninnyhood, where we really don't have to do the work to understand, but we just check out in kind of an emotional high for a while until it perhaps crashes. No, to follow a call that is something that goes on all the days of our lives until we come to that deeper maturity, and it keeps changing and broadening as we age and grow and develop. It's like in the East when they say when we're first young, our greatest purpose is to find happiness and joy and just pleasure in life. And then in our 20s, we just want to do our duty and do what's right to develop a safe environment for our family and our children, which are expanding. And then in midlife, we come to that place where we begin to ask again, what's it all about? Why am I here? And then perhaps if we follow that call, that yearning, we can grow into some of the most deepest maturity and understanding of purpose and divinity that we've ever had in all of our lives. In a few days, we're going to be inaugurating a new president, an African-American president, on the very steps that were built in 1799 and 1800 by African slaves. Can you imagine that? After all these years, the change from slaves building the Capitol and the White House to an African-American taking his oath and living in that same house, whose wife can trace back to her great-great-grandfather being one of those American slaves. Talk about evolution of purpose. Dr. Martin Luther King, when he gave that famous I Have a Dream speech in 1968 on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, he had a dream that it might come. He never thought he would see it in his life, but here indeed it is at last. At a funeral I attended the other day, there was an older man whom had died, and one of the things that they said about him was that in World War II, at the young age of 18, he joined the Army Air Force, flew 30-plus missions over Japan as a part of an effort just to obliterate several cities and to bring that nation to surrender. A few years ago, while he was seeking out expert care for a medical problem, he came upon a Japanese doctor in his hometown. discovering that that Japanese doctor was a very survivor of one of the towns that he had tried to obliterate with his crew. But as they talked and shared memories, in time they became the closest of friends. His son, who gave the eulogy, said, "How time, in thinking and development, heals and brings people together." And so it is. In Japan, there's a story in ancient Zen Buddhist that goes something like this. There was a temple. In the back of the temple, there was a large field of squash. One day, the squash got very unhappy, and they began to fight and to quarrel, and to throw stones and dirt at one another and call each other names, and they divide up on different sides, until finally the temple priest came out and shouted at the squash to be quiet and to sit still, and to fold their feet under them, and to fold their hands, and to begin zazen, or to meditate in quiet. He came back in about an hour, and they were still sitting in quiet, in peace and repose. And so he asked them to take a hand and to put it on the top of their heads and see what they felt. Well, they felt this weird thing, which was a stem, which was connected to a vine, which was connected to every one of the other squash in the field. And for the first time, they realized that they were really all connected together as one. In our lives and our development of our purpose, and the development of our deepest love, may we grow to that place where we see ourselves connected spiritually with a vine, with all other men and women and children, regardless of their race, religion, or creed. And that with that vine we're also connected to that which is eternal, our spiritual creator, whom we name God. And may today, and in all the days of your life, you come to grow in purpose, understanding and living love and forgiveness and peace. May God bless you in your yearning, in your pursuit, and in your pilgrimage. Good day.